Hi everybody, welcome back to the third segment of the Phoenix Rebirth Tarot. So when I talk about the Phoenix Rebirth Tarot deck, one of the things I really want people to understand is that it is not just a traditional tarot card deck. It is with a different visual theme placed on top of it. All right, it is not just a tarot with a phoenix painted on the cards. It's not just a rebranding of old meanings. And it is not meant to be approached as something that only predicts events and gives surface level answers. All right, the deck is different because it was built around a very specific philosophy. It was built around self-transformation. It was built around the process of becoming. And that is one of the biggest differences right away. It was built around the truth that people do not need information about what is happening around them. They also need language for what is happening within them. A lot of people come to tarot asking what is going to happen next. And while that question has its place, the deeper question behind the Phoenix Rebirth deck is this. Where are you in your transformation? What is being revealed to you? What is being redefined in you? What truth is trying to emerge through your current situation? That changes the entire tone of the deck. Because now the deck is not just naming events, it's revealing process. And it is not just describing a moment. It is not looking for an outcome. It is helping you understand alignment, resistance, transition, and embodiment. And to me, that matters deeply because life is not made up of only random disconnected experiences. They are cycles. They are thresholds. They are initiations. There are moments where who you used to be can no longer carry the you that is happening next. And the Phoenix Rebirth deck was designed to help people recognize those moments more clearly. Traditional tarot has a long, beautiful, powerful history. It carries archetypes that speak up to the human experience in timeless ways, and I respect that deeply. But with the Phoenix Rebirth, I wanted to create something that focuses the lens through even more specific versions of rebirth, self-return, and inner evolution. I wanted a system where the symbolic language itself felt unified. I wanted a system where the cards were not only had individual meaning, but where the entire deck moved like one living philosophy. And that is why the Phoenix is so central to it. In many decks, different figures and different scenes represent different types of people, forces, or experiences. But in the Phoenix Rebirth deck, the Phoenix stands at the center of the core as the living symbol. And that is very important because the Phoenix is not just a mascot. It is not just a decoration. It is the central embodiment of the entire philosophy. The Phoenix represents the soul's transformation. It represents endurance. It represents fire with meaning. And it represents identity passing through pressure without losing its sacred core. It represents the truth that destruction is not always the end, and that something real can survive the ashes and rise with greater clarity. So when the Phoenix remains the central throughout the deck, it creates a very different feeling with a more traditional system. It means the deck is not just scattered across unrelated visual identities. It means the message remains spiritually coherent. It means the journey remains centered on one underlying truth, transformation through fire. And that creates continuity. That creates emotional unity. And that creates a stronger sense that the deck is not just giving isolated messages. It's participating in a larger path of becoming. Another difference that the Phoenix Rebirth deck is built is to reveal stages. It's not just about symbolism in a broad sense. It's about placement within a process. That matters because so much suffering comes out of not understanding where you are. Sometimes people think they are falling when they are actually shedding. Sometimes they think they are stuck when they're actually just being tested. And sometimes they think that they are lost when they're actually just between identities. Sometimes they think the ending is just something deeper and have to try from the beginning. The Phoenix Rebirth philosophy helps you interpret those moments so that through a lens of evolution and alignment. So instead of only asking, was this good or bad? The deck is encouraging you to ask a deeper question. What stage is this? What is this season asking of me? What needs to be released, understood, strengthened, or embodied here? And that gives reading weight. It gives it structure and a direction. And it makes the deck especially powerful for people who are in transition, healing, awakening, rebuilding, grieving, reclaiming themselves, or even trying to understand why life feels like it is breaking open all around them. Another thing that makes this deck different is that it is centered on fear. Is not centered on fear, I'm sorry. It is not built to trap people on dependency. It is not designed to make people afraid of the future or obsessed with outcomes. Its purpose is not to remove a person's power. Its purpose is to restore it. And there is a major difference. Because sometimes people approach cards from the same place of panic. They want certainty, they want control, they want to know exactly what will happen so that they can feel safe. But my deck is more interested in the truth than control. It is more interested in alignment than anxiety. It is more interested in helping someone become empowered enough to face reality, move through their cycle, and make a clear choice from an honest center. So when I say this deck is different, I mean that it is built to guide transformation, not dependency. It was built to support self-awareness, not helplessness. And it is built to bring someone back into a relationship with their own truth, their own fire, and their own capacity to move through what life is asking of them. And that is also why this deck is not only just a reading tool. It's also a mirror. It is a reflective system. It can help someone see where they are abandoning themselves. It can help them see where fear is making their choices. It can help them see where a cycle is unfinished. And it can help them see that where truth has already arrived, but embodiment has not yet caught up. And that is deeper than surface prediction. That is a deck functioning as a spiritual instrument. And that was always part of the intention. I did not want to create something that only sounded mythical. I wanted to create something that actually helped people understand the inner mechanisms of transformation. I wanted a deck to speak to a person who had been through pain and is now trying to make meaning of it. Or a person who knows that they are changing but does not fully understand what that change is asking of them. The person who feels that their life is moving through some kind of fire and they need language to navigate it with dignity instead of fear. And that is where the Phoenix Rebirth deck lives. It lives in the space between collapse and renewal. It lives in the threshold between who you were and who you are becoming. And it lives with honest confrontation with truth. It lives in a sacred process of burning away what is false and what is real can stand more clearly. And because of that, the symbolism of the deck is not random. It is very intentional. The card's meaning, the spiritual tones, the structure, the focus on cycles, the emphasis of embodiment, and the use of the phoenix as the singular living symbol, all these things are working together. They are not separate creative choices. They are one philosophy expressed in one deck. And that is very important to me because I did not want to make something fragmented. I wanted to make something integrated. I wanted the deck to feel like a coherent world, truth, and a coherent path. So when somebody works with the Phoenix Rebirth deck, they are not just pulling cards. They are stepping into a framework. They are stepping into a language of transformation. And they are stepping into a system that asks them to be honest about where they are, what they are carrying, what is ending, what is trying to emerge, and what part of them is ready to rise. And that is another big difference from how many people casually approach tarot. This deck asks for participation. It asks for reflection. It asks for self-confrontation. And it asks for willingness. Because rebirth is not passive. Truth is not passive. A person can receive insight, but they do not embody it, and that cycle remains incomplete. And the Phoenix Rebirth philosophy cares very deeply about embodiment and not just knowing. It's about becoming, not just seeing, but living it, and not just naming the lesson, but integrating it. And that is why I would say this deck is not just symbolic, it's directional. It does not just describe your inner world. It helps show you it shows you how to move through it. And it does not just validate what you feel. It challenges you to understand your current stage requirements. It does not tell you that you are just in pain. It asks what that pain is clarifying, revealing, or preparing for you. And that is a very different relationship than simply asking cards for a yes or no answer. It is a very mature relationship. It is a very transformational relationship. And it is a more honest relationship. And for me, that is the most important thing about this deck. Because I believe people deserve more than vague visual or spiritual language. I believe they deserve tools to help them face themselves with compassion and clarity. And I believe they deserve systems that do not reduce them to fear, but invite them into a greater version of self-respect, self-awareness, and self-trust. And that is part of what the Phoenix Rebirth deck was made to do. It was made to help people recognize that their life is not random chaos. There is meaning in cycles. There is meaning in fire. And there is meaning in the pressure. And there is meaning in the stages that they are currently in. And once someone begins to understand that they can stop seeing themselves only as someone someone whose things are happening to them, they start seeing themselves as someone moving through a sacred process of transformation with themselves. And that shift is powerful. Because now they are not just asking what is happening, they are asking what is making it possible in me. They're not asking, why is this so hard? Instead, they're asking, who am I becoming through this? And that is the heart of the difference. The Phoenix Rebirth deck is not just about divination. It's about transformation. It's not just only about symbolism. It's about becoming. It is not only about the card. It is about the cycle that the card reveals. And it is not only about what surrounds you. It's about what is awakening within you. And that is why this deck has become its own thing. Because its purpose is specific. Its philosophy, specific. Its spiritual language is specific. And its mission is specific. It exists to help people understand rebirth is not an abstract idea, but a real process that they can recognize, navigate, and embody. So yes, there may be roots that connect it to tarot tradition, but the Phoenix Rebirth deck was created to do something much more focused, something more unified, something more transformational. It was created to help people understand that their pain, their fire, their transition, and their identities are not meaningless. They are part of a larger movement, and the deck exists to help them read that movement more clearly. And that is how it's different. And that is the difference. And that difference is the reason why it matters. The Phoenix Rebirth deck does not just tell you what is around you. It helps reveal what is happening within you and what your transformation is asking of you next. So in the next segment, I'm going to break down the Phoenix cycle itself. I'll explain the stages of transformation and give this deck its deeper structure. All right, stay tuned for the next video. Thanks, guys.